Could Greece's dazzling tourism success, celebrated with record-breaking numbers, actually be its most dangerous deception, setting the stage for an unprecedented economic collapse? Greece just achieved something extraordinary, an astounding 6.3 million visitors in 5 months of 2025, pushing revenue up 10.6%. On the surface, it's a triumph. Yet, beneath this impressive frontage, 5 hidden crises are relentlessly undermining the Greek economy. This is the unsettling calm before a colossal storm, a disaster capable of collapsing Greek tourism entirely, wiping out 30% of GDP and placing 2 million vital jobs at risk. The government's fatal mistake is treating tourism as a cash cow, imposing sudden climate taxes, new cruise fees, and crippling VAT rates that harm both remote islands and mainland businesses, while completely failing to address soaring energy prices, relentless inflation driving up hotel operating costs, and punishingly high interest rates and banking transaction fees, pushing businesses closer to the brink. While Greece cheers for 40 million visitors in 2024, Turkey targets 65 million visitors and $64 billion in 2025, nearly triple Greece's tourism income. Turkey isn't just competing here, it's capturing markets Greece has already lost. Adding to the tension, the immigration crisis in Crete intensifies, with almost 10,000 asylum seekers arriving this year, damaging the island's premium image. The government's delayed response, a 3-month asylum suspension, proves tragically insufficient. Greek tourism businesses face staggering employment costs. 48% of net salaries vanish into Social Security contributions, making hotels uncompetitive against Turkish resorts with significantly lower labor costs. Educational shortcomings further exacerbate this. Outdated university programs fail to provide qualified staff, resulting in a workforce crisis that hampers service quality. The tax structure severely burdens small businesses, demanding 13% VAT on accommodation and restaurant services, but a steep 24% on everything else, a disproportionate impact. This is the ominous story of how Greece's economic triumph is chillingly turning into its next financial disaster. By the end of this video, you'll find out exactly why 2026 could mark the year tourism ceases to support the Greek economy. But perhaps even more fascinating, you'll discover an emergency action plan that can still avert this catastrophe, provided policymakers act decisively within the next 6 months. This is the Money Trail investigation into Greece's ticking tourism time bomb. To truly grasp how Greece's incredible tourism miracle is now teetering on the very edge of disaster, we have to rewind to the darkest days of 2020. The pandemic had just struck, and the Greek economy, already fragile, was collapsing before our eyes. Tourism arrivals plummeted by over 50%, revenues vanished, and 2 million tourism workers faced sudden unemployment. Greece was sent to the shackles. Yet, against all odds, Greece staged one of the fastest, most improbable tourism recoveries in all of Europe. Nearly 28 million visitors returned to its shores. Revenue streams miraculously reopened, bringing life back to the economy. Economists around the world were stunned. What had seemed utterly unthinkable just 2 years prior had suddenly become a vibrant, undeniable reality. Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis and his tourism minister Vasilis Kikolias didn't just acknowledge this incredible rebound, they loudly declared victory. They presented it to the world as irrefutable proof of their smart policy decisions and the indomitable spirit of national resilience. The numbers continued their meteoric rise through 2023, with 32.7 million tourists and 20.6 billion euros in revenue. cementing tourism's 13% contribution to GDP. By 2024, a record-breaking 36 million visitors brought in 22 billion euros, earning Greece the title of crown jewel of European tourism. But this celebration masked a disturbing truth. As it turned out, these record figures were just a fluke, fueled by three uncontrollable forces: pent-up post-lockdown demand, the decline of rival destinations like Turkey, and a flood of EU recovery money boosting consumer spending. The Greek government made a fatal error, mistaking a lucky streak for lasting transformation. They believed this boom was theirs to claim, and this illusion guided every wrong decision that followed. See, when you believe your own hype, you stop asking difficult questions. Instead of treating your most vital industry as one that needs to be protected by all means, you treat it as a quick ATM. The government focused on extraction, more taxes, more fees, more pressure on an already strained industry. Instead of investing in infrastructure and workforce training, tourism became a cash cow, milked harder each year to fund unrelated agendas. This was the turning point, where success turned into dangerous overconfidence. A temporary recovery blinded leadership to the cracks forming beneath their feet. So now they began to dismantle the very industry that had saved the Greek economy, even without knowing it. But what happens when the unseen cracks in a seemingly solid foundation suddenly begin to tear a vital industry apart? By the way, only 7.8% of you watching have subscribed. If you appreciate deep dive geopolitical analysis like this, hit like and subscribe. It helps us make more videos like this. You see, Greece's celebrated tourism rests on 5 interconnected foundations: immigration management, a competitive labor market, robust education, fair taxation, and a cohesive national strategy. While the post-pandemic golden mirage masks growing weaknesses, all 5 pillars now show undeniable strain, threatening the Greek economy's engine. Let's start with immigration. Crete, a jewel of Greek tourism, is overwhelmed by a volatile migration crisis. Over 10,000 asylum seekers arrived this year, disrupting serene regions. Idyllic beach images are replaced by stark photos of packed refugee camps. The government's response? A short asylum freeze and hurried temporary camps has done little to solve the problem. With chaos in Libya and Turkey's geopolitical pressure on migration, this influx won't stop. Crete's reputation already pays a heavy price. Hotel bookings fall, cruise ships subtly reroute, and tour operators shift focus. Now, let's look at labor. Greek tourism businesses face crippling employment costs. Approximately 48% of net salaries go to Social Security contributions. This is incapacitating when rivals like Turkey operate at far lower rates, often boosted by government subsidies. So now businesses go automation mode, cut seasonal jobs, and trim essential services to stay afloat. Family-run taverns and small guest houses face the same rates as massive hotel chains, getting crushed. But what's even worse, education is declining too. Greek tourism schools produce graduates unfit for the modern industry. Training emphasizes outdated service models, while global tourism demands digital fluency, sustainability, and multilingual capabilities. Greece is short a shocking 80,000 trained workers, with no meaningful government response. Meanwhile, Turkey, Spain, and Cyprus invest in specialized programs. Greece falls even further behind. But taxation is perhaps the most brutal chokehold. Accommodation and restaurant services enjoy 13% VAT, but most other essential services are taxed at a steep 24%. Little distinction exists between a small island guest house and a luxury Athens hotel. Overnight, climate taxes doubled without warning. Cruise ships now face new fees, and municipal taxes vary according to the appetites of municipalities. system is designed only for short-term revenue with no regard for long-term sector health. But the competitors are far more strategic. While Greece applauds milestones, Turkey plays a longer, more sophisticated game. It has systematically captured key, high-value markets like Russia and the entire Middle East, and aggressively invested in high-end resorts and strategic marketing. Turkish tourism policy is backed by coordinated military and diplomatic outreach, making it a powerful geopolitical tool. Greece, in stark contrast, has no playbook, no coherent counter strategy. Unless Greece acts quickly against converging threats, its 5 foundations will inevitably drag the entire economy down. The window to avert catastrophe is closing fast, with stakes rising every day. Which begs the question, can Greece truly escape a crisis fueled by forces it can neither control nor predict? Forces now closing in from every direction. Before we dive into the external threats facing Greece, let me share a quick personal story that completely shifted my perspective on dealing with economic challenges. Recently, we had the incredible opportunity to attend the Freedom 24 Festival in Barcelona, where we met their amazing team. It was there that I finally connected with George, head of their Greek office, and discovered some fascinating details about Freedom 24 that I'm sure most of you aren't aware of yet. Turns out, Freedom 24 has a significant presence in Greece, already serving over 100,000 clients. Beyond their Athens office and dedicated Greek-speaking support team, they also run an academy offering courses on investing fundamentals, strategies for regular investments, and insightful ideas for seasoned investors. But here's what truly surprised me. Freedom 24 is an official member of the Athens Stock Exchange. This means I can use their platform not only to invest in global companies, but also directly in Greek stocks. In fact, I've already started by purchasing a few shares. If you'd like me to share more detailed insights and ideas on building your first investment portfolio, especially considering the current geopolitical environment, just type investing in the comments. And if you're ready to take your first step toward financial independence, now's the perfect time. Freedom 24's Welcome Promo campaign is valid for customers registered from April 1st to August 31st, 2025, rewarding both new and existing EU-based clients. Simply deposit 1,000 euros or more and use one of the following promo codes on the screen based on the amount you have deposited. Each code gives you for free real shares, no gimmicks, trade stocks and ETFs on a user-friendly platform that fits right into your daily routine. Now, back to Greece's crisis, because the external threats may be even more dangerous than the ones we've covered so far. While Greece celebrated its record tourism numbers, 3 massive external forces reshaped the Mediterranean. These forces, beyond any Greek policy, now threaten to make every internal crisis far worse. Turkey is systematically dismantling Greece's tourism dominance. With President Erdogan's formidable national strategy, tourism is a powerful tool of geopolitical influence. Declared a matter of national security. Their target was a mind-boggling 65 million visitors and a massive $64 billion in revenue, nearly triple Greece's total. What's truly devastating for Greece is the permanent loss of the lucrative Russian market. Before the Ukraine war, Russian tourists accounted for 8% of Greek tourism revenue. EU sanctions cut them off. Turkey, without burdens and without imposing any sanctions like its NATO and EU allies, welcomed over 6 million Russian visitors. The result was that Greece was losing revenue of approximately 3 billion euros annually. Turkey pushes further, now targeting the same affluent German, British, and Dutch tourists Greece relies on. Unbeatable, all-inclusive packages and aggressive marketing make Turkish resorts attractive, especially as Greek businesses battle punishing taxes and high labor costs. But Libya tragically became a geopolitical pressure valve, with Turkey holding the lever. Tripoli's government cannot control its vast borders, so human smuggling networks operate freely, making Crete an unavoidable landing point for thousands. This is a calculated pressure tactic. Turkey, as Libya's key ally, indirectly escalates migration toward Greece, creating a constant destabilizing flow. For Ankara, this overwhelms Greek border resources, destabilizing vital tourism zones, and reinforces its blue homeland doctrine. Consequences for Greek tourism are immediate and severe. Luxury visitors avoid destinations associated with refugee camps. Tour operators quietly rewrite itineraries. News coverage of overcrowding replaces images of sunlit beaches. With every diverted booking, Turkey capitalizes, offering stable, problem-free alternatives. The third threat is slower and more insidious: Europe's growing economic fatigue. Let me explain. French and British consumers face painful financial pressure from inflation and stagnant wages. Italian tourism spending lags below pre-pandemic levels. Since 85% of Greece's tourists come from within the EU, this slowdown matters deeply. Weaker household budgets and a stronger euro make Greek holidays harder to afford. Temporary boost from post-lockdown savings is gone. Inflation hasn't helped. Hotel prices are up a jarring 18% since 2022. Dining cost up 22%, squeezing tourist budgets. Here's the stark reality Greece must face. These threats, like Turkey's aggressive tourism strategy, relentless migration, and Europe's economic fatigue, aren't going away. They are long-term fundamental shifts. Turkey will continue its offensive, migration will persist, European economies will remain tight. Greece cannot control these powerful external forces, but it can choose how to respond. It can reform, adapt, and counter, or it can continue a perilous path of denial, clinging to temporary success while the world moves on. This is precisely how these external forces, ignored for far too long, could soon turn Greece's hard-won tourism miracle into a devastating, lasting economic crisis. So, is there truly a way out of this deepening crisis? A lifeline Greece can grasp before its tourism sector becomes a permanent shipwreck? A collapse isn't guaranteed, but without bold action, it's inevitable. Greece still has time to turn things around, but it has to stop treating tourism like a short-term cash grab and start treating it like the national asset it really is. First, migration must be prevented, not just managed. That means strengthening borders, partnering with EU forces like Frontex, and ramping up patrols using drones and radar. Greece should also strike direct agreements with Egypt and Tunisia to dismantle smuggling routes from Libya. Pushing the EU to set up asylum screening centers in North Africa is key. Yes, it'll cost around 500 million euros a year, but that investment protects Greece's image, restores control, and keeps tourism alive. Second, the employment crisis needs targeted relief. Right now, nearly half of net salaries go to Social Security. That's choking small businesses. Cutting contributions to 25 to 30% for tourism employers with under 50 staff would give 92% of the industry immediate breathing room. Offset that with a smarter tourism tax, higher for big hotels, lower for smaller ones. Add a seasonal hiring scheme, and the system becomes both fair and sustainable. This would cost about 200 million euros annually, but pay for itself within 3 years. Third, it's time to modernize tourism education. Greek schools aren't producing the workforce the market needs. Partnering with Swiss or Spanish programs, adding mandatory internships, and teaching digital tools in foreign languages would fill an 80,000 worker gap. It's a 100 million euros fix over 5 years, but it future-proofs the industry. Fourth, Greece doesn't need to spin like Turkey. It needs to outthink it. Country should reposition itself as a premium destination. Authentic, boutique, and culturally rich. That means working with luxury cruise lines, subsidizing air routes to remote areas, building foreign policy into tourism strategy, and targeting travelers looking for quality, not just deals. Estimated cost? 300 million euros a year. Well below Turkey's tourism budget, but far more strategic. In total, this full reform plan will cost 1 billion euros, but could increase revenues to more than 30 billion euros annually and create thousands of jobs for years to come. To truly save the tourism sector, leaders must stop chasing short-term wins and start playing the long game. You think they will? Or is it already too late? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And a special thanks to Freedom24 for making this analysis possible. If you're serious about building your own financial future, be sure to check them out in the description below.